So looking at the route that we're going to be covering today in Halls of Atonement, this works for Fort keys and Tyrannical keys. There will however be two routes in the description. One is if you have a rogue in your group, and the other is if you do not have a rogue in your group. The only difference if you don't have a rogue is that you drop 2 packs of the groundskeepers out and you pull these 4 depraved mobs after the first boss, killing Woe so then you can make the skip to the second boss. That's the only difference. You're looking at the percent thinking why is it so over? It's because I have all the Stoneborns that you don't get credit for selected in regards to what packs they're going into by our Venthia Covenant player that you have in this key, which it's really important to have one. So let's go through the MDT. We're going to CC this first Houndmaster here, and we're going to take these 2 Depraves into this pack up here, the first Shardpool, and we're going to hero. We're then going to grab these 2 and chain them into these 2, making this a 4, and we're going to move up into this next red pool. The Pat will come up and down, just wait for it to come back and chain it into what you're already doing here. Then we're going to grab the Stoneborn and take it into our second Shardpool. We're then going to run all the way back down here and come down the stairs. We're going to grab this Pat with this inside Pat and these 2 at the gate. We're then going to grab this Stoneborn and go into our third Shardpool with the Groundskeepers. We're going to come out, go into the corner, fight all of these with the Groundskeepers and recharge our cooldowns. We're then going to have a ranged player move up to this wall here and tag this Stoneborn with a ranged ability. It will run down and come through the gate. Whilst this is happening, someone will go over to the other side watching this Pat and pull this Stoneborn. We meet over here in the middle. The Venthia player will spam their extra action button and control the 2 Stoneborns. From there, we pick up the boss. After the first slam, you pick up this middle pack and you cleave it down on the boss. Once the 2 Stoneborns are gone, we will pick up the third Stoneborn mid-fight and we'll have used 3 Stoneborns on the first boss. After this, we have a rogue, so we're going to Shroud. Remember, if you don't have a rogue, you would simply take out 2 of these Groundskeeper packs, kill these 4 here and kill Woe, and then skip all the way through. We get to Echelon, where we're going to use our second Heroism or Lust, and then we're going to go into the next room. Now you can double pull these and fight them in Echelon's room, or you can single pull. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the 2 Stoneborns and the Vi relic here, and once Vi spawned, we're going to take all of this onto the boss here, High Adjudicator, and then we're going to kill on here. So we'll be doing this with 2 Stoneborns and 2 relics while we're fighting the boss. We go through to the Sanctuary of Souls, we deal with this as normal, we pick up the normal boss, we tank it on the souls, move sides, get aggro, yada yada. Then we move out to Lord Chamberlain, where we'll use our final Heroism and hopefully get through that unscathed. So let's check out the commentary. Alright, so let's cover this runoff here. So when the shield goes down, we're immediately going to get some form of CC onto this padding Houndmaster. So Blind, Sap, Imprison, Sheep, Hex, Trap, whatever you can, we don't want that pack. We're going to take these 2 Depraved Dark Blades up into this first Shard pool. So we'll have 2 Dark Blades, 2 Obliterators, a Collector, a Shard, and then 4 Groundskeepers when you decide to bring them in. We're going to use our first Lust or Heroism here. Position wise, try and get into a safe spot. You can see sort of where I am here. These Dark Blades do a non-telegraph frontal. There'll be 2 in this pool and some people can get easily smacked. Guardian Druids, you'll have pre-Incarn running all the way in here and then you can just pop Incarn as soon as it drops. It's really a nice pull for Guardian Druids here. The Obliterators will be casting out Wicked Bolt, kick those. We'll also be casting a Curse, which causes damage to all players within 8 yards. You want to stun or dispel this. You can live on Tyrant keys, but on Fort keys, you can very well one-shot players. The Collector will cast Collect Sins, spawns little shadow ads, which are great for funnel if you want to let them go through. And the Groundskeepers just smack and bonk you. They do deal a decent amount of physical damage, so just watch out for that. Once we've got through that pack, we're going to pick up these 2 Depraved here, and we're going to drag them into the middle Darkblade and Obliterator here. So again, just make sure you're getting your kicks, trying to dodge the frontals here. We're just going to skip through this. The Pat will be walking around the side of us. Remember, we don't want that Pat. So you can see the Pat off to the side there. It was just off to the side here. Okay, so it's walking the other way. What we're going to do is run through into this next pool. Now, the next pool is going to have 5 Groundskeepers in it, a Houndmaster, 2 Gargants, and 2 Depraved mobs. So again, interrupting the Obliterator as you pull will cause it to move in here. Don't chase the Pat if it's not there, just let it walk in when it comes back. This pool can be a little bit scary, so don't be afraid to sink a CD into it. In the world of longer CDs like Incarn on Druids, it can come up back during this pool, but I generally advise it for the next Shard pool you want to hold it for. Just watch the stacking bleed from the Gargans they'll put on you when they're in rage. Most importantly, the Houndmaster needs to be stunned when it drops below 50% HP. It will cast Loyal Beast, which enrages the Gargans. So be sure that you're stunning those casts or moving away. Just know as well that you can soothe the Gargans if that does go off. With the Houndmasters, you can Incap Roar, Mighty Bash, Hodge, Blinding Light, Fear, Stormbolt, Shockwave, Rop, Leg Sweep, Grip, just whatever you've got in your arsenal to stop it, make sure you do. So we're going to kill this pack here, and then we're going to grab this Stoneborn here, and we're going to take it into the next Shardpool. Now, the second Shardpool, again, just ensure that you are kicking the depraved mobs. You can also pull the Shard to this, like either side of these pillars here. And what you can do is if you pull the Shard back to either like this spot here, or this spot over here, when the Thrash goes off, your group can actually line of sight the Thrash. If you're not able to survive through the damage that's coming out from that, so just be aware of that. We're also going to grab the Stoneborns at the back of this as well. We'll be killing here. Kicks, same as normal. There'll be swirls on the ground, which I should have mentioned on the first shard as well. Just try to avoid standing in them. So we're going to get through that. We've pulled the groundskeepers, and then we're running all the way back across here, and we're coming down the stairs, remember. So we're coming down the stairs here, and we're going to get this pat, and there's another pat that's all the way up that end. So we're going to wait for that pat to walk back, and then we're going to grab that. Again here, just really make sure that you watch the bleed from the Gargans that's coming out here. Try to get your kicks here. You don't want to pull this Stoneborn that's sitting up there. You very much want that for the Shard. So just be aware of that. You've got 2 Houndmasters in this pool as well. So just watch for the Loyal Beast cast. Make sure you're stunning them. If it does go off, you can run up the stairs and jump down for safe kiting and things like that. So we're going to get through this pack here, which you can see it actually went off and I had to run and jump down the stairs. And then we're going to move into the third Shard pool here. So we're going to grab this Stoneborn out the front, and we're going to run in. We're going to grab these groundskeepers and these relics. We're going to make sure we're kicking the obliterators, decursing the curse when it goes off, yada yada yada. We've done it twice before. We're going to get through this pool here, so we're cleaning that up. Then we're going to move out, and we're going to go into this corner. So we're going to get these 4 depraves here and the groundskeepers down there as well. We end up fighting them. We recharge our cooldowns here. Now what's going to happen is, as I mentioned, one range player is going to come over into this area here near the gate. So where that little brazier is, I've gone too far now, but it's over like here. They're going to tag the Stoneborn up the top. Here is this pat that's going to be walking back and forward here. We want to grab this Stoneborn over here, and we're going to come back and meet in the middle. So the other Stoneborn's coming over here now, so they'll cast Stone Breath, just don't be standing in it. The Aventhia player is going to mash control on these 2 Stoneborns here. This is the reason we're not heroing, even though it's tyrannical as well, is because we're going to pump 3 Stoneborns into the Halkias here. Now, I'm going to wait for the first crumble to go off. Crumbling Slam goes out. Then I'm going to grip the Obliterator in here. The rest are going to run in, and then it's just a matter of cleaving them down on the boss, watching out for people getting hit by slams and things like that. It can get really hectic. You do have to make sure as the tank, you try and stay away from melee, and they try and sort of stay away from you not to get slammed as well. Can be a little sketchy. Houndmaster again needs to make sure that that Loyal Beast cast is getting stunned, because if the Gargan's in rage here, you don't have anywhere to run, which can make it really, really awkward. You've also got the Earth Slam to watch out for here, and the Halkias Slam as well. This is a huge time saver though, if you can make it work. Once the 2 Stoneborns go off, we're going to grab the 3rd Stoneborn that's up the back, and we're going to use that to get through the boss. We've put 3 Stoneborns into it. Make sure before the boss gets to 100 energy, you try and run somewhere with some form of free space, because when the Halkias gets to 100 energy, it'll go into these erupting sin lines, the reflected sin light, and your group has to run around. Now this was actually a really bad spot. There was a little bit of room on the outside here. We got a lucky beam change direction, but otherwise you do have to run through and take ticks of it if you don't pull the boss far enough out, which can be really chaotic for your group. So just be aware of that. So after we get the Halkias down, we're going to use the Rogue Shroud, and we're going to go all the way up to Echelon. Now remember, if you didn't have a Rogue, you'd fight those 4 extra depraved, you'd take the 2 Groundskeepers out, you'd kill Woe, and you'd zoom up here like normal. So second boss Echelon is actually a real wall on higher keys. You're pretty much screwed if you don't have a decurse. And this is where you'll be popping your second hero, your lust, in this key, and you'll be killing here. There aren't many tricks to this boss, to be honest. Try not to AoE too early with your group so the stone fiends actually run in close, making them easier to clump up, interrupt, stun, and DPS down. When the Curse of Stone goes out, ensure that you're not standing under a Shattering Leap. So if you're not the person that is going to be stomping on the ads, make sure you get the hell out of there. Your group always wants to ensure the player targeted with Stone Shattering Leap is decursed. Most classes can actually get out of it to avoid the hit when the slam actually triggers. So hunters can disengage out, you can Dora Shadows, you can Soul Shape out, you can roll out. DKs, you can IBF if you don't get decursed. Warriors can intervene or heroic leap out of it. There are ways to avoid some of that damage, but that's pretty much it. Otherwise, there isn't a lot you can do. If there's nothing to stomp on, make sure you just get out with the stone leap so it doesn't hit any of your teammates. The blood spatter pools will be going out on the ground as well. Try and avoid standing in the blood torrents. Group these ads up as much as you can. They will explode for a bit of damage when they die as well, so just be aware of that. If you're nuking them all at once, there will be extra damage coming out from that side of things as well, but it is a pretty tough boss on higher Tyran weeks. So we're going to get through Echelon a little bit messily in this key, and then once he is down, we have a decision to make as to if we want to double or single pull here. Now, we were fine on time, so we just elected to play this safe, and we were going to pull one pack singly and the other pack. If you are going to double pull this, you generally get a Warlock Gateway in. So you could Warlock Gateway in, tag one of the mobs on the other side, and then run all the way back out and line of sight here. Otherwise, if you want to do it the other way, you can run in, put a slow down or pop a defensive, tag the mobs, run back around, and Warlock Gateway out. If you have a priest, you could Warlock Gateway in, and then you could get life gripped out as well. So we make the decision here to just pull singly these because we were quite safe on time. So Gargans, again here, stacking up the bleeds. You've got 2 Houndmasters to watch out for as well. So again, making sure that you are getting the stuns on the Loyal Beast cast is everything here. There's not actually too much to this that we haven't covered. Once that's done, we're going to move around the other side. We're going to tag these Depraved Darkblades. You can fight them in here or you can drag them back. We're going to fight these in here, and we're going to then kill Vi and take that onto the boss. So skipping past this bit here, we've just killed Vi. We're going to grab these 2 Stoneborns here, and we're going to take them into the boss. Now, normally we pulled relics with that pack. Normally you would have the relics sitting here if you double pulled, and you would just grab these 2 Stoneborns, grab the relic, kill Vi, and then go straight onto the boss here, and then you'd kill with the boss. As a tank, always just tank on one of the lanterns. It just makes life easy for your DPS not having to move to then go and find one, as you're always tanking on one that is available, so people know a spot to run to, especially if melee, they don't lose any uptimes. Important to just make sure you're kicking the volleys and the bolts here. Watch out for the anima fountain. It'll drop down with these little pools on the ground. Just make sure you're not standing in it. The pulse from the ad whilst it's moving to the lantern does do a fair bit of damage as well, so just be aware of that. But again, make sure you're always moving around to a lantern. We've got 2 Stoneborns on this boss. Generally doesn't take too long and shouldn't give you any trouble. So we're going to get through this boss here. I actually think several of us die because we didn't interrupt a bolt. And then we're moving into the Sanctuary of Souls here. So I'm going to pick up the mini boss here. We're going to just tank it on either side, basically. Get an interrupt off as soon as you can when a cast becomes available, so the Wicked Bolt, and then just pull it over these souls. We want to DPS the souls down, then you want to move it to another spot. DPS the souls down, move the mini boss. There's 4 sort of quadrants. You want to try and establish some form of aggro, otherwise these just fixate on people and start going to wreck them. So then we're going to finish all of that up, and then we're going to move out to the last boss, Lord Chamberlain here. We've got Heroism is back up. Sorry, I've just skipped too far. So we're coming out here. We've got 4 minutes on the clock, which was more than enough for this key. And then we're going to Hero, and we're going to kill here. Now, the big thing on Lord Chamberlain is obviously just dodging the statues thrown at you via telekinetic toss. Can get pretty hairy at sometimes, but you just need to watch for it. Sigma of Pride is a large magic dot that goes on you. You can, however, AMS the application and not wear the dot, which is a huge bonus. Make sure you're making the most of that. If you are going to soak lines as well, you can use AMS for that. AMZ is generally fine, and you can generally survive it with a tank cooldown. So as a DK, using AMS on that Sigma is actually, a great way to avoid a lot of damage with that dot. So making sure that you just dodge the telekinesis throws there. We got a little bit unlucky with one of our players getting hit there. Dodging Unleashed Suffering, which is just a frontal that goes out. The boss will spin, and just cast it in any random direction. And the other big thing that's important here, as I just want to get to, is, thought we were there for a second here. Okay, so this bit here, this is where you need to soak the beams. Now you can have 2 players do this, okay? So Ritual of Woe here, you can drop AMZ down, you can drop a Spirit Link Totem, you can drop a Darkness, whatever you're doing, but you want to have 2 players soaking this. So rogues can Cloak of Shadows it, and then the tank can stand on the other side. If you stand in the hitbox between 2 of the statues at like the point where they intersect, then you can take 2 beams, and the DPS can stand on the other side and they can take 2 beams. And that's what you want to do to try and mitigate as much of that damage. Whoever has immunities or ways to soak those abilities is who you want to put in the beams, and the tank's obviously the beefiest class that can take 2 of those beams each time. So that's it. Any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Hopefully I've covered this off well enough to give you a pretty solid idea of what kind of routing and options that you've got in this dungeon. Any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much for checking out the guide. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.